As a law enforcement officer, I attest that my fundamental duty is to serve mankind, to safeguard lives and property, to protect the innocent against deception, the weak against oppression or intimidation, and the peaceful against violence or disorder, and to respect the constitutional rights of all persons to ensure liberty, equality, and justice.
Welcome to Gainesville PD on Duty, where we take you behind the badge of the Gainesville Police Department. My name is Officer Ben Tobias, and I'm the agency spokesperson. Each month, I invite a different officer to join me in the studio so you can meet the different members of the agency. This month, I have Officer Justin Torres, one of our crime prevention officers, co-hosting the show with me. Welcome to the show, Justin. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do as a crime prevention officer.
Thank you very much, Ben. I've been with GPD for 8 years now, and I'm currently the crime prevention officer for District 1. There are 3 of us total, and our job is to help keep our crime rates low by helping folks know what they can do to reduce their chances of becoming a victim.
Today's show starts with a segment on traffic. If you've been in Gainesville for more than a few minutes, you know that our roadways are filled with cars, trucks, scooters, bicycles, pedestrians, and any other mode of transportation that you could possibly imagine. We recently interviewed Traffic Safety Team Officer John O'Farrell to learn some tips that will help you navigate Gainesville safely, no matter how you choose to travel.
We do want people to know whether we're doing a specified enforcement to wear your seat belts. And in fact, a pretty bad crash at South Main and Williston Road where at least one of the drivers, if not others, were not wearing their seat belts and was ejected from a vehicle that would have not probably put them in the hospital with quite severe injuries if they would have been wearing their seat belt. A good day for me is writing 0 seatbelt tickets. And in fact, over the years, even in just a short time that I've been on the traffic safety team, the last 5 years, it's actually very hard for us to find citations for the seatbelt violations. Alachua County has the highest compliance of seatbelts in the state of Florida. The roundabout design is so that traffic can flow a little more smoothly, so you can actually have multiple vehicles inside of the roundabout at the same time. One common problem is people treat it as a 4-way stop as opposed to being in the roundabout at the same time, which actually goes back to hindering the traffic flow. You are both going about the same speed. There's no reason that you both cannot enter that intersection at the same time. Unfortunately, many people stop, which is okay as well, to avoid a collision with the vehicles, but it is safe to do so once you look left to enter it with them if you're going about the same speed. If 2 cars arrive at the intersection at the same time, the person on the right is going to have the right-of-way to go into the roundabout. If a car's in the roundabout, you do have to yield to that vehicle that's already in the roundabout, but you can be in the roundabout at the same time with other vehicles. Some of my hot buttons are basically just for motorists, for pedestrians, whether you're on a scooter or in a car, is to be aware of your surroundings and others around you, not just what's in front of you. That would make everybody safer if they looked ahead. A lot of drivers just look at the car in front of them. If they're not looking several cars ahead or a block down the road, they're not going to see that there's some danger or a traffic stop, and that's where we get a lot of rear-end collisions because they're not focusing far enough ahead. It has to do with their speed, obviously. The pedestrians are only walking about 3 miles per hour. A bike's going to go about 8 to 10 miles per hour. And of course, cars generally in the city are at about 30 miles per hour on many of the roads here. And so the fastest need to use a little more caution when approaching the slower ones, especially on a car approaching a pedestrian. That's going to be the most dangerous effect. And the pedestrians too have to be aware of their surroundings, even though they may have the right-of-way when they enter a crosswalk. When you're looking down and you're texting at your phone, you're really not aware of your surroundings. And if someone doesn't follow the law and yield like they're supposed to that pedestrian, if that pedestrian is not paying attention, they could be hit. If they were paying attention, they may be able to escape and get out of the way of a car that's failing to yield to them. Speed can also cause more congestion because people are going really fast and then they're having to really slow down a lot when they come up to any kind of obstacle, whether it be a bicyclist, a pedestrian, an intersection, other traffic, and that actually interferes with the flow of traffic. Speeding does. You would think that it would increase it, but it actually decreases the flow of traffic. One thing that I would say to the vehicle drivers that are out there is that you're in your car, you're by yourself, so you're nice and comfortable in your car. Well, you have to be aware of your surroundings, which means that you have to look far left, you have to look far right, you have to look a block down the road. If you do these things, you're less likely to get into a crash, you're less likely to hurt anyone that's around you, whether it be a pedestrian or a scooter that's trying to cross in front of you, maybe even illegally, but it gives you, as the motorist, the time to stop. Even if someone's driving and they are looking down at their phone and they happen to look up and see traffic in front of them stopping, they've already lost several seconds of stopping time, and they're going to be involved in a crash because their reaction time has now been decreased as well. If you're a bicyclist, some bicyclists travel relatively fast around town, especially if they're a delivery bike driver. Those bike riders are generally really good bike drivers, but they also have to be aware of their surroundings, because if a car fails to use a blinker to turn, they could cause a collision, and it's not going to hurt the car driver, it's going to hurt the bicyclist. So they too have to use what they have around them and look at their surroundings to be much more aware. Many scooter riders are, because they're going to school, a lot of these young kids, they're carrying their backpacks and books. Some of them will actually carry it in front of them, so they don't have both hands dedicated to the handlebars on their scooters. The law does require them to not have anything that interferes with both of their hands being on those handlebars, which makes it a dangerous event if they have to do some type of avoidance to avoid a collision or to not fall over on their scooter. So your hands have to be free to be on those handlebars. That's one of the big things. Even though it's not a law, I see a lot of these young kids, especially now that the weather's getting warmer, they're wearing flip-flops while they're driving their scooter. Well, if that flip-flop folds under while you're driving, you're going to probably lose some toes. So a good general safety feature that when you're riding a scooter is to wear some type of closed-toed shoe. One of my first ones that I pulled up behind within the last 2 weeks, I was driving behind her with my lights on. She obviously did not see my lights, so I turned my siren on. I gave a little blip on the siren. She didn't seem to hear me. She kept driving. I blipped it again. She has her earphones in both ears, which is why I was stopping her. She continued on. Third time, I had to sound it for quite a few seconds before it startled her and she turned around. So that right there, we had already traveled a few blocks, so she did not hear my emergency siren as I was coming up behind her. So that makes it much more dangerous. If a car was behind her trying to warn her of some danger with their horn, she probably would have never heard it with those earbuds in both of her ears. A lot of scooters don't believe that they have to wear a helmet. However, the way the law is written, if that scooter can, on a level surface, travel over 30 miles per hour, they are required to wear a helmet and eye protection as any other motorcyclist would. In fact, we recently started working a grant that focuses just on those specific violations. And if you're driving at 30 miles per hour and something as simple as a bug flies into your eye, you've lost the sight effectively of both eyes, and now you have the potential of crashing. So if you're not wearing your helmet and you just fall off your scooter at 30 miles per hour, you're going to be in serious trouble. It could be common sense, except I believe when many of these folks are buying their scooters, the educational material is not there for them to know. They do know that they don't have to wear that protective equipment. However, we are in the process of getting a program started for safety for folks, and it's going to be probably a compilation between the University of Florida Police Department and the Gainesville Police Department at least, to have a program that these scooters, that before they can even park on campus, that they may have to go through a safety course if they want to get that parking permit. For scooters and motorcyclists, many car drivers, they don't understand the perspective of a motorcyclist or a scooter. So one thing that I would give to them is they have to look out for themselves, because others around them are probably not looking out for them. If you're a pedestrian, we'll call that the worst case scenario, because you have no protection for anybody that may run into you. So you should be most aware of your surroundings, not texting on your phone, not looking down, reading an email, or surfing on the internet on your phone while you're walking to class, especially when you're crossing the road. Our goals are to keep you safe, because that is probably the worst part of my job, is having to call the parents, generally of students, since we are a high student area, that their student is now in the hospital that's either seriously injured with some type of head injury or possibly even killed. If you're a pedestrian and you're crossing the road, you may not be at fault if a car is going to violate your right-of-way, but you have to be aware of your surroundings to avoid that collision, because even though you may not be at fault, you may be dead. You may be dead right. That would be unfortunate.
Please remember that no matter how you choose to travel, you are sharing the roadway with a lot of other people. Make sure to keep your phones down, your eyes up, and everything will be okay. After the break, we'll fly over to the airport to learn why our Joint Aviation Unit is celebrating. Gainesville PD on duty. We'll be right back.
Burglaries and robberies have become serious concerns in our city. This crime is referred to as a crime of opportunity because most criminals look for the path of least resistance. Protect yourself, don't become a target, lock your doors, and keep expensive items out of plain view.
For crime prevention information, go to GainesvillePD.org or call the Gainesville Police Department's Crime Prevention Office at 334-2479. Protect yourself. Don't become a target.
I will maintain courageous calm in the face of danger, scorn, or ridicule. Develop self-restraint and be constantly mindful of the welfare of others. Honest in thought and deed in both my personal and official life, I will be exemplary in obeying the laws of the land and the regulations of my department. Together, as a community, we foster order, safety, and freedom.
Welcome back to Gainesville PD on duty. We are very lucky to have a number of different specialty units that help our officers in many different ways. One of these is the Joint Aviation Unit, a collaboration with the Alachua County Sheriff's Office. The Aviation Unit provides airborne coverage in missing persons investigations and instances where criminals flee the scenes of crimes. The helicopter is an invaluable tool that helps keep our city safe. The best part? It's not your tax dollars in the air. The unit is funded by contraband forfeiture. So the next time you hear or see Air One above you, you can thank a drug dealer. The unit recently held a celebration to commemorate 20 years of service to Gainesville and Alachua County. Let's learn a bit more about that 20-year celebration.
106016 gust 24, visibility 10 few clouds at 3,500, 7,500 scattered, 9,500 broken, temperature 272.18, altimeter 3018.
So back in 1996, many of you remember Larry Roberts and Dale Witt, who worked for the city of Gainesville. They got their hands on two military surplus Hughes 086 helicopters. They were able to convince Chief Waylon Clifton that we needed an aviation unit. And this was on the heels of the student homicides back in the early 90s, where we had to bring in lots of resources from other agencies, Pinellas County Sheriff, Jacksonville, you picked the agency that was within a couple hundred miles to help search the woods, looking for clues in order to solve these homicides. So that was the impetus for us getting the first helicopters. Then Don Stanridge, who worked for the Sheriff's Office, he got the OH-58s that came from the military that belonged to the Sheriff's Office. So in '97, we hired Walter Barney Barnett and also Richard Bray and Farnell Cole, and they started operation of the Joint Aviation Unit.
I know the tremendous job that you all do serving the citizens of Alachua County. It's more than just flying, looking for the bad guys, searching for missing people, just a multifaceted unit. And when I look at these magnificent pieces of equipment out here, they're well maintained. They are well maintained. So the staff that's responsible for that too and everything, thank you. Thank you. So all I want to say is that keep up the good work. We need you. It's an essential part these days of law enforcement and public safety within our community.
Tonight's going great. The weather's been great. We were able to set up and everybody was comfortable. There's a nice breeze blowing through here, which is always a concern during, in summer in Florida, but we're so happy how it turned out and all these aircraft that have shown up. It's a great event. I hope that the future is to have a 30-year reunion. This is a great unit. The guys are great. The support is great. I'm very privileged to be the chief pilot here and working with the people that are here.
Service Helicopters is proud to recognize the Joint Aviation Unit for 20 years of distinguished and dedicated service to to the citizens of Alachua County and the City of Gainesville and law enforcement officers, presented the 6th day of May, 2016.
We are proud to celebrate this milestone with the Joint Aviation Unit. I look forward to hearing and seeing them continue to watch over us from above. After the break, we will learn how local law enforcement honors those each year that have died in the line of duty. Don't go anywhere. Gainesville PD on duty. We'll be right back.
So you're cruising down the road and all of a sudden you spot flashing lights up ahead. Some sort of emergency vehicle. Maybe a cop car, maybe an ambulance, maybe a tow truck is stopped on the side of the road with its flashing lights on. What do? If you answer, just keep right on going. Wrong. Sorry, try again. When an emergency vehicle or tow truck is stopped on the roadside with its lights flashing, it's your job to move over or slow down 20 miles per hour below the speed limit. That's right, move over and give them some room, or slow down if you just can't change lanes. That is unless you like paying tickets, because that's just what you'll get, a big, fat ticket. So here's the deal. Keep your eyes on the road at all times and watch the road up ahead, not just what's right in front of your hood. Anytime you see an emergency vehicle or tow truck on the side of the road, move over a lane or slow down to 20 miles per hour below the speed limit. Give them the space they need to do their job safely. Hey, these folks are looking out for you, so look out for them too, will you? Move over, Florida. It's the law. A message from the Florida Highway Patrol, paid for by the Florida Department of Transportation.
I will never act officiously or permit personal feelings, prejudices, animosities, or friendships to influence my decisions. With no compromise for crime and with relentless prosecution of criminals, I will enforce the law courteously and appropriately, without fear or favor, malice or ill will, and never employing unnecessary force.
Welcome back to Gainesville PD on duty. Since the department was formed, 4 brave men have given their lives while serving this community. Officer Jackson Bennett, Officer Shannon Stevenson, Officer Scott Baird, and Lieutenant Corey Dahlem each died in the line of duty. Each year in May, the nation pauses to remember those police officers that have made the ultimate sacrifice. The Alachua County area holds a law enforcement memorial service each year to remember and honor those lost from our area. Gainesville police officers and our honor guard are very involved with the preparation for this moving service.
Tonight, with candles aglow, we join together in memory of many and in honor of all. They are our peacemakers, those who put the welfare of others above their own. America's thin blue line, protecting the lawful from the lawless. Almighty God, we, the members of the Fraternal Order of Police, upon this Memorial Day, recall the heroic deeds of our departed brothers and sisters who answered the great call of duty. We know full well that their souls have found peace in your heavenly home. Grant unto their loved ones and unto those left behind your blessings and the knowledge that they did not make their sacrifices in vain. May we, in this memorable hour, consecrate our lives to the service of you, O Lord, so that we may stand ever ready to answer the call, just as did our departed brothers and sisters.
Officer Jared J. Forsyth, Ocala Police Department, end of watch, April 6th, 2015. K-9 Igor, Kissimmee Police Department, end of watch, April 21st, 2015. K-9 Jimmy, Hialeah Police Department, end of watch, May 27th, 2015. K-9 Hector, Hialeah Police Department, end of watch, May 27th, 2015. Deputy William J. Myers, Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office, end of watch, September 22nd, 2015. George Lazarano Bryant, High Springs Town Marshal, end of watch, December 3rd, 1908.
These great heroes gave their lives, not only for this community, but for us.
Deputy Charles Herman Slaughter, Alachua County Sheriff's Office, end of watch, May 11th, 1912.
Remember, no matter what, tell your family you love them before your shift, during, and after.
Josiah Hall, Waldo Town Marshal, end of watch, September 19th, 1912.
Even if you're not getting along or upset with them at the time, you never know if it will be the last thing they hear from you.
Deputy Samuel George Wynn, Alachua County Sheriff's Office and Constable of Newberry, end of watch, August 18th, 1916.
None of us believe it's going to happen. All of us should prepare for it to happen.
Deputy Robert Edward Arno, Alachua County Sheriff's Office, end of watch, June 18th, 1921.
We are there for the families of fallen officers in the beginning until we believe that the grieving period is over. I don't believe it ever ends.
Officer Jackson P. Bennett, Gainesville Police Department, end of watch, April 27th, 1936.
We go about our normal routines and the families continue to grieve. As the years become longer from the time of death, we tend to have less contact with the families until it gets closer to the date they've passed.
Officer Shannon Ray Stevenson, Gainesville Police Department, end of watch, June 15th, 1980.
This memorial's all some of the families have left. They look forward to getting together with law enforcement officers once a year.
Deputy Jack Allerton Romas, Alachua County Sheriff's Office, end of watch, February 1st, 1988.
It's up to each one of us to make time in our lives to stay in contact with these families. It is our job to make sure that these fallen officers and their families are never forgotten.
Officer Scott Matthew Baird, Gainesville Police Department, end of watch, February 12th, 2001.
If those fallen officers were truly part of our family when they were alive, then we must treat their loved ones the same as family.
Lieutenant Corey Douglas Dahlem, Gainesville Police Department, end of watch, April 4th, 2007.
Attention all public safety personnel, attention all public safety personnel. A moment of radio silence will be observed in honor of all of our law enforcement brothers and sisters who have died in the line of duty during 2015 in Alachua County and throughout the state of Florida, this 5th day of May, 2016. We pay our respect and honor these law enforcement professionals, our fallen heroes. They will be missed, but not forgotten. A moment of radio silence will now commence.
We all made a decision, and we chose to put our lives at risk for those who need us. Proverbs 28:1 tells us, "The wicked flee when no man pursueth, but the righteous are as bold as a lion." These words are etched on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Memorial.
I would like to speak to the deputies and officers in the audience for a moment. As you know, we work in a very dangerous job, a lot more dangerous than many of us thought it would be, and it's getting worse. Most people do not understand what we do in a day of work, nor will they ever understand the struggles that we face. We see things in one day of work that most people will never see in a lifetime. It's up to you to train, no one else. You have to be the best because we cannot come in second. We train hard for the day of battle and hope that it never comes. But should it, it will be like no other battle that we have ever faced. We must not give up and continue to fight through, for it is us who lead the fight against those who choose to cause harm. We will be successful because our life depends on it, and our law enforcement brothers and sisters' lives depend on us. These 10 law enforcement officers on this memorial behind me paid the ultimate price for our freedom. They laid down their lives for us.
Their brothers and sisters in law enforcement will never forget them, nor will we let them be forgotten by anyone. Well served, peace officers. May you rest in peace.
We thank those of you that pause each year to remember our fallen. We take this job with the knowledge that any of us could lose our lives while protecting this community. But it's a risk we are all willing to take as we serve and protect each and every one of you.
And that wraps up this episode of Gainesville PD On Duty. Be sure to find us online on Facebook or Twitter or by visiting GainesvillePD.org. You can learn more about the Gainesville Police Department and even watch previous episodes.
Since I'm a crime prevention officer, I'll take this opportunity to share some of my favorite tips. 1, double check your vehicles and make sure that they're locked. 2, don't leave any valuables out in plain sight inside your vehicles. And 3, always be aware of your surroundings.
Excellent, excellent tips. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you again soon for another episode of Gainesville PD On Duty.
I recognize the badge of my office as a symbol of public faith, and I accept it as public trust to be held, so long as I am true to the ethics of the police service. I will constantly strive to achieve these objectives and ideals, dedicating myself before God to my chosen profession, law enforcement.
Burglaries and robberies have become serious concerns in our city. This crime is referred to as a crime of opportunity because most criminals look for the path of least resistance. Protect yourself, don't become a target, lock your doors, and keep expensive items out of plain view.
For crime prevention information, go to GainesvillePD.org or call the Gainesville Police Department's Crime Prevention Office at 334-2479. Protect yourself, don't become a target.